Before we get to the offseason, though, this was the fourth to last game of the season. I guess we should talk about, in this post game, the actual happenings of the game for a minute. Jamie Drysdale and Nick Seeler as well. You mentioned earlier, Charlie, like the bottom 2/3 of this defense were not good tonight.
Yeah, real bad.
Drysdale is a -6 and Seeler a -5. Now, I know we often say plus minus not the best of stats, but in a game they lose 9-3. The only other defenseman that was a minus was York -1. Everyone else is even, and then you have two guys at -6 and -5. That might be a little bit of an indication of how they played.
That's actually funny. So Stahl and Johnson got back because they were at like -2 and -3. They must have been on the ice for a lot of
those garbage goals
at the end because they were bad too.
Yeah,
that
doesn't absolve them that a couple of goals happened to squeak in garbage time.
I mean, I'm just saying you're at Slavkovsky split the defense on a neutral zone regroup. Like, you realize how slow the two defensemen have to be to let a guy split the defense on a fucking neutral zone regroup?
It is just very telling when a team loses by 6 and one of the defensemen is -6.
Yeah,
like, that's real bad. And listen...
and I'm not absolving Jamie Drysdale.
No.
What I'll say about Drysdale is that, like, they haven't tried to hide how much work he needs. Tonight was just a glaring example of how much work he needs. I mean, the defensive breakdowns they were having, and some of that very well might play into the man-to-man versus zone that he's adjusting for, because the big breakdowns were ones where just he kind of went to cover somebody else and disappeared, and then the guy's left wide open in front of the net. And the chemistry I thought he had with Seeler, that was gone tonight. That was completely gone. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to write off that pairing because of one awful game, but it was an awful game. And it served as a reminder that Jamie Drysdale needs a lot of work. I am not saying he can't be fixed, because I really like the raw talent, and I know that Anaheim rushed him to the NHL. But this showed just how much work he needs.
When we talked to Jonesy shortly after the Gauthier for Drysdale trade, he was basically like, I don't know if he thinks Drysdale still belongs in the AHL, but he definitely doesn't think he belonged in the NHL when he made it.
Yeah.
And it's their opinion that this is a project player. This was by no means a like, hey, we got a high-end guy right away. They think he has high-end upside. He's got raw tools, but they need to, I mean, Charlie, you put right here, whole game needs to be rebuilt. Even when we had, it's funny because you got that tweet, like, yeah, let's move him to forward, and it's the whole ghost thing all over again, and that's whatever. But just, even when Gostisbehere was having the worst time defensively, he could put up points. There's no offensive, he's got 5 points in 21 games with the Flyers. Like, and the 2 of those 3 assists he's got were the first 2 games. He's got 1 assist in the last 19 games. Like, that's really not good. And I know he's not healthy. He was never healthy this year. Right. We can say all this. It's going to take a few years to judge this trade. But, man, it doesn't look good right now.
We all silly like the mayor.